Hey there, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley with you on this Wednesday evening. We're tracking another winter system getting closer to us, and once we get over the next couple of days, we'll be right in the thick of it yet again. Hopefully you're doing all right where you are. I know it's been a really difficult week for a lot of people, still dealing with icy roads as a bit of a problem. Also, of course, having those icy sidewalks, not easy, and we haven't had a good time clearing those out. And really, we're only about 2 days away now from the beginning of another winter system. So I'm going to talk to you about the threats that I see for our area, what you might expect where you are, what we know, what we're still trying to figure out, all of those things here over the next 10 to 15 or so minutes. So thanks for being here with us, and feel free to go ahead and ask me some questions on Facebook if you'd like. Always open to that. So what are we looking at? We have a News 2 weather impact alert, a new one, another one. This is coming up for Saturday, and we're extending it into Sunday and Monday too. Saturday is the storm day. That's when the snow will come down and impact our area. Really going to say just avoid travel if you can on that Saturday. And then Sunday into Monday, the snowy roads and very cold air. Those things are going to linger. They're going to linger a while. As we've seen, when you have cold air after a winter system, it can extend the pain, extend the problems, and make it a bigger bit of an issue for us. So this is kind of what we're looking at. I know it's kind of crept up on you perhaps because we've had so much other things to think about and to talk about. Over the last couple of days, it was really more of a question of whether or not it would hit or miss our areas. I think the window of it missing us is starting to close. And the chance of us getting hit, not just by snow, but probably by several inches of snow, well, that chance is going up. So what other things can we talk about with this system? Sort of main points first off. So with this alert, what are we talking about? Well, basically, as we go into the weekend, the chance of significant snow is going up, and that's mostly for your Saturday, of course. The earliest it could start would be probably at about 10 o'clock or so Friday evening. Maybe as late as around 2 a.m. But it is going to start pretty early, and that means that by the time you're waking up on Saturday morning, there could already be a couple of inches of snow out there. And then afterwards, we're seeing this kind of continue on again, off again, maybe not the whole entire day, but most of the day on Saturday. And then it would be winding down sometime late Saturday evening and into the earliest hours of Sunday morning. This is a dry, fluffy snow, and part of the reason that it would be a dry snow, bitterly cold air, temperatures in the teens, temperatures in the 20s, kind of like what we saw last weekend, how cold it was outside. It's going to be cold outside for this one, it seems like to me. Travel will be difficult, obviously. If you have several inches of snow on the roads, it's usually not an easy go of it when you're driving the car. That's not an easy thing to do. But unfortunately, we're going to have to try and remove all that stuff again. And as we know, that's pretty difficult to do, but it'll be the challenge through the day Saturday and especially into Sunday, and we'll see what's left over next week on the roads. I'm fearing that it will be quite a lot on the roads because of the amount of moisture that we could have available to us. Now, here's our forecast model for Friday afternoon. This would be about the beginning of things, right around 5 o'clock. Notice most of the Carolinas are still dry at that point, but you can see how cold we are. We're already in the 20s. Cold air is not an issue. A lot of times it is, but it's not an issue with this particular storm. Notice how as we go into Friday evening, we start to develop some snow showers. This would be about 2 a.m. on Saturday. And then going into Saturday morning, there's some snow, and it's not covering everybody, but there's a wide amount of it around the area. Scattered snow showers would continue through Saturday morning, and then this is about as far as our model gets right here. So we'll stop it right at about 1 o'clock. That's only about half the storm, but it shows you how widespread it could be and, far-reaching across the Carolinas. I can show you another model. I just like that one because it's a bit higher resolution. Let's take a look at this one. This is the European computer model that you hear us reference quite often. It has a similar setup Friday evening and then into Saturday morning. That's when snow would become more likely And I think the trickiest part about this forecast for us at this point is you see on here how this would be about Saturday at 3 o'clock. You see how there's a heavier band indicated over here and a heavier band indicated over there. But notice how there are a couple of drier patches right about here. Those are challenges that we're going to have to figure out together. And a lot of times you just can't figure that out. These are called either dry slots or deformation bands. These type of things, very difficult to pinpoint right ahead of time. So the consequence is that you can have some areas that get much more snow in one county, and then the next county over they can get much less. So those are the reasons that we forecast a range of amounts and a range of totals. And in this case, where we are right now, I kind of think we're in line for at least about 4 to 8 inches. And I could see it going higher than that. I could also see it going a little lower than that too, but a good amount of snow. You can see this model really holds on to the snow for a long time before getting rid of it in our area. As this is going on with the snow around the area, there will also be some wind. So you think about drifting or low visibility, we could have that. So throughout the day on Saturday, the winds could be whipping around about 20 to 25 miles per hour. That's kind of how we're seeing it develop into the area. And maybe even some gusts as high as 30 miles per hour going into Saturday afternoon. So dry snowfall, fluffy snowfall on the ground, blowing around. That can make some drifts. That's not something we see very often, but snow drifts could be a bit of a problem with this system. I do think the impacts of snowfall and the impacts to travel are pretty darn high. We don't really get that very often, do we? But yeah, we're looking at a lot. We're looking at big impacts with this system. Considering where we've been, I think we're more vulnerable to this. We have a lot of icy roads still. We have a lot of travel problems that persist. But a couple of things we can rule out this time. Unlike usual, I'm not expecting us to mix with sleet or freezing rain. It should just be a pure snow. And that's nice. That's nice to see. That can make it more fun, but it can also make it pretty difficult to kind of nail down a lot of those details. As far as power is concerned, I'm not worried about power outages overall, but I will say, considering the wind gusts that I just showed you, I can't rule out a couple of those. So some power problems could happen. I just don't see those being widespread for our area. Here's kind of how I see the timeline. So again, this is starting late Friday evening and then continuing into the day on Saturday. Snow most of the time on your Saturday, and it would be windy, and you would need to avoid travel as well most of the day. That's just kind of the way that it is when it comes to a snow event for our area. We know the roads typically aren't very good very quickly. And same thing would be going for Saturday night and into the day on Sunday. Now, like I always say, and I know this is not what some people want to hear, we have cold air coming in after this. You'll want to clear your driveway and your sidewalk as quickly as you can. Whether it's you, whether it's a neighborhood kid or a friend or a family member, you'll want to do that right away. Get that done on Sunday. Because once we get into that melting, refreezing cycle, it becomes much more difficult to shovel that stuff away. This should be mostly light and fluffy snow and stacking up pretty tall, but you don't want to get in trouble with it hardening up and then really you don't have anywhere to go. So that would be my recommendation to you. As far as snow totals, I haven't produced a map just yet, but I do think a big chunk of North Carolina has a pretty good chance for heavy snow. Basically, everybody in blue, the dark blue, has a good chance for heavy snow. And the other spots too have also, you're still going to get snow, just maybe not quite as heavy in those areas. So that's kind of where we are right now. We're at a point where the snow chance is just not as much of a chance anymore, and it's more of a likelihood for our area. And that's, again, not something we see all the time, only on the order of a couple times a year. So it's been a while. In fact, if you look at this stat, it's been 2,606 days since we've had over 4 inches of snow. Pretty long time. The last time that happened was December of 2018. So what could we maybe see with this system? As of right now, I would see the middle ground for us probably being about 4 to 8 inches. And I know that's a large number, and that's kind of a, is that kind of a storm? Yeah, I think it is. And the reason I'm a little more bullish on those numbers than usual has to do with the dry nature. Dry snow stacks up taller. We call that a snow ratio. Typically, North Carolina snowfall would have about a 7-to-1 ratio, water to snow or snow to water. This one would probably have more of a 15-to-1 ratio, so about twice as tall as usual. Now, that makes it lighter to shovel and not as big of an issue for power outages. But it means you can get higher amounts or higher numbers on the storm. So I do think that's reasonable, and I wouldn't even rule out 8 to 12 inches in some areas. Now, in the same coin, you can be lower than that as well. So lots to figure out still and lots of details to hammer home. But I do think that we are in for a pretty impressive day of snowfall across North Carolina. It's just figuring out those corridors of who sees the heavier amounts is kind of the hard part right now. Now, temperatures will be cold. We go into Monday morning, temperatures in the low teens to single digits. So this cold is not really going anywhere. And the feels like the wind chill factor, that's going to be low too. We'll see wind chills all the way down into the below zero range at times. So we've got to be bundled up and we've got to be using caution with that. So here's the 7-day forecast. I don't have very warm weather in the forecast picture. I do see us in the 30s the next couple of days and then Friday evening with some snowfall, mostly after 10 o'clock. And then on Saturday, that's the day that we have to deal with the snow coming down every now and again, watching that. And looking ahead into Sunday, mostly dry there with some sunshine coming out. That's nice. But we will still be cold and it won't melt very much, even with some sunshine. So that's the day to clean up, like I said, because once you go to Monday morning, we saw what happened this week. You get down to about 10 degrees. Temperatures are in the 30s in the daytime. Not easy. It's just not easy to do. We'll be in the 40s after that, but that's not going to help all that much either. So I do think another storm challenge is headed our way. Make sure you're ready for it. Main things to do to prepare is kind of just make sure you have around the house what you need, because you could be stuck in there a little while, especially if you're in one of those shadier neighborhoods or those that don't get plowed. We could be dealing with road problems that last for quite a while here. So just know that, plan for it, and we'll get through it together. It might be a little fun, though, for the kids if they get to make some snowmen and snowballs and go sledding and the whole deal. So that's your forecast. Thanks for being here with us, and we'll keep you up to date as we go through the weekend.